5 minutes of your undivided attention. I'm pretty confident if you give me that much time, you will have a pretty good idea on how to draw hair.
5 minutes? I find that hard to believe. It took me 10 MFAs to be able to master hair.
Well, welcome to YouTube Art School.
Whoa, is that a taser?
Sure is. As I was saying, I'm going to show you my method for drawing hair, and I'm going to make it as simple as possible. You can start out by printing out a reference image and doing a rough sketch of the head and hair. If you're brand new to drawing and you're having trouble doing that, you might like my step-by-step videos. I have 2 playlists of step-by-step videos. One is for beginners, and the second is for artists with some experience. So first I want to show you the tools that I use. That little white thing that looks like it has a dark tip is called a blending stump, and watch what I do with it. I'm just putting in a pencil line, and these are really handy for extending the lines, but extending them softly. Notice the difference in tone between the pencil and where I use the blending stump. The next tool that I want to highlight is the bristle brush, and the bristle brush is just a paintbrush with a hard tip. Not totally hard, but it's not soft. You'll know the difference when you feel them. Did some hatching with the pencil, and you see the bristle brush is really good for smudging on the paper. The most important use of the bristle brush is to neutralize tones and to give larger areas a flat neutral tone. The final tool that I want to highlight is the kneaded eraser. Just a quick side note, the other 2 are just pencils. One's a mechanical pencil and one is a regular pencil. The beauty of the kneaded eraser is you can mold it any way that you want. So if you want to do some really thin highlights, you could mold it small, and if you wanted to do something thicker, take away masses, you can also do some thick erasing as well. I combine this with regular pencil erasers, and the only downside to the kneaded eraser, it's kind of a soft tip. It's good for people with a delicate touch. I've been told by many teachers I do not have a delicate touch. Oh well. So now that you have a better understanding of the tools that I use, let's turn our attention to technique. Step 1, crosshatch in all of the sections where there is hair. Don't do anything with the tones yet. Just make sure that everything is even in tone. Step 2 is really simple, but please note that it works a lot better on drawing paper than computer paper. I just neutralize everything with the brush. We're going to call this a half tone, and basically the tone is going to be half as dark as the darkest dark in the reference image and the white of the paper. I'll fully explain why I do this in the next step. For step 3, we are going to add to and take away from our neutral base that we got in step 2. And I am looking at the reference image that I'm using, and I'm trying to notice the highlights and the shadows. And I'm doing longer strokes. The darkest darks I just put in, I just hatched in. They don't really have a solid sense of line. But if you notice what I'm doing now, I am trying to mimic at least what I see, and I realize you can't see my reference image, but take a look at your reference image and notice the direction that the hair is going. And look at the top of the head right now. Notice that I am bringing the hair down. I'm doing very long strokes. And this is really important. The strokes are done only in one direction. So I stroke down, and then I pick up the pencil, go back to the top of the page, and stroke down again. At this point, it looks sloppy, and yours will too. But think of it this way. You use the eraser to create the highlights from the halftone, and you use the pencil to go darker. You use the blending stump to connect. In other words, look at the area where there's the highlight. You're going to see me use that blending stump, especially at the end, and I'm going to connect the areas. You can also do the same thing with the paintbrush. I like the blending stump for hair because it has a thin tip. So use the eraser to do the lighter strands of hair, and use the pencil tip to do the darker strands. If you notice, there's always a pattern that goes on, and that pattern is due to light. Light is never a constant thing, so that's where looking at the reference image comes in. Other than its use that you saw before to neutralize tones, the paintbrush can be helpful in giving you that gradual transition of tones at the very end. This drawing took me about 45 minutes to do, so I recommend that you take your time with this, and especially at the end, you want to make everything merge into each other. So that's the video. I hope that this helped you. If it did, please rate it. Please hit the thumbs up button. And if it really, really helped you, please share it perhaps on your Facebook wall. Thanks for watching, everybody.